I came to San Francisco in 1970, and I'd had a brief experience working at the Library of Congress as a librarian. One day, I ran into Lawrence just down the street from City Lights, and he had said, "Oh, I heard you were in town, and I would like to have you come as a consultant to help me resolve some problems about a bibliography of Allen Ginsberg's work." So I started in on all of that. Meanwhile, Jan Herman was working there as Lawrence's assistant, and Jan said, "I've been asked to go to Germany and I'm leaving tomorrow, so I would like you to take over the publishing business." I said, "Really? Well, what would Lawrence say?" And Jan said, "Oh, Lawrence won't mind. He might not even notice." Jan handed me a rubber stamp and said, "Well, Lawrence made this up, and you just stamp everything that comes in that we haven't asked for." The stamp read, "Sorry, editor took off." And then 3 or 4 days later, Lawrence walked in and hardly said hello, just waved and went into the other room, and then came back and said, "Hello, I'm glad you're working here and I hope you'll stay." The rest is history. The rest is 45 years at City Lights.
Nancy Peters took over and made City Lights Publishing a more productive operation, and she was super smart. I was always afraid of her. She had a big vision and she knew what to do, and she got stuff done.
I wanted to bring everything to City Lights, and I had to pick and choose which kinds of things that we would be connected with. I mean, we couldn't publish everything that the Black Panthers wrote, but I was really happy that we could publish Erica Huggins and Huey Newton's poems.
She had a lot to do with leaning even a little more toward the left than Lawrence did. They just clicked very well, and he loved having a woman's hand involved in his business.
And as far as the events were concerned, sometimes something seemed really important, like farm worker organizing, anti-Vietnam War demonstrations, and we did a reading supporting traditional Navajo and Hopi elders against Peabody Coal. It was good because we had a publishing company, we had a place where people could publicize things, we had a store where they could take their books.
In 1983, we were in very bad shape but didn't know it. We had a manager at the bookstore who was hiding huge unpaid bills from big major New York publishers who were threatening not to send us any more books till we paid up the back bills. And Nancy took over as general manager of the bookstore and the publishing house. And she really turned the whole operation around. If it hadn't been for Nancy, we would be out of business today.
Which seems like a really strange thing since I'd had no business experience. I was as unbusinesslike as Lawrence was. But it seemed like we needed to take radical measures.
Nancy carried on the Shig tradition. She systematized the bookstore a bit, but she kept the feeling of it being a communal resource. Even though it was more difficult to steal books,
there was a feeling in the counterculture that everything belonged to everyone communally, and therefore everyone should be able to go to City Lights and steal a book, and never thinking about the fact that we had to buy those books for them to steal. And so I've never been forgiven by lots of people in the general population for getting one of those theft detection devices installed.
We never called the police if we caught a book thief. We had a handwritten sign up saying, "Police will not be called, but you will be publicly shamed." And one of our managers actually pulled down the pants of a book thief, thereby publicly shamed him.
We still get letters. People write to us and say, "Here's $12 to pay for a book I stole in 1963.
If we didn't own the building, which we succeeded in buying in 1998, we'd be out by now. I mean, the rents would have forced us out long ago, as it has many other bookstores.
Lawrence wanted to do that from the moment he moved in and started renting, of course. We thought about it all the time, and in fact, we'd even thought about buying other buildings. And we envisioned what it would be like, and then we thought about all our beloved cubby holes and interesting contours and inconveniences and how much we loved it. We realized that our own building had so much charisma and history that City Lights at another location just wouldn't be the same.